Hello, my beautiful soul family friends. My name is Tarek Bliss Bibi. We've got a very exciting call today, very special guest.
We are rising up. We are rising up. We are rising up.
A doctor in the house, and someone that I have worked with for the last several months. Played a huge role in me manifesting my beloved, my life partner. Played a huge role in me healing my deepest traumas in this life, at least. Tons of valuable information, wisdom. So honored and blessed that I get to have this one-on-one with her the way I have. I really believe in the near future she'll be very hard to reach as her career will explode. If you are someone who has experienced childhood trauma, sexual abuse, coping mechanisms, addictions, wanting to understand how best to navigate when you experience trauma and how to come out of it feeling more empowered and understand it on an intellectual level, emotional level, energetic level. She was connecting dots for me that in my mind, if she didn't share them with me, I would have never linked the two, and they're helping in so many areas of my life. How to break free from the cycle of abuse and enter into that higher level of vibration. Today's title is The Consciousness of Healing Trauma. And our very special guest is Dr. Lisha. Dr. Lisha Antiqua, did I get it right? Is the author of The Identity Code, a therapeutic methodology to heal from the effects of childhood sexual abuse and end cycles of abuse going forward. Dr. Lisha has her PhD in transpersonal psychology. She was awarded one of America's premier experts in self-care in 2011 and 12. You're full of surprises. She certifies holistic trauma coaches and therapists, as well as yoga therapists at Your Own University, and accepts private clients in her practice at lishaantiqua.com. Dr. Lisha works with clients around the world to end the cycle of abuse affecting humanity and lift the vibration of our consciousness to 5D. Dr. Lisha, welcome to the call.
Thank you. Thank you, Tarek. It's such an honor to work with you on both sides of the fence, too. Like, I want everybody to know that you're just spectacular in helping me to continue this work, because the trauma work can be really dark and really heavy, and we know that we're manifesting on different levels. So you're helping me really step into the lightness of this all and receive the abundance for the heavy work that we do, and also see the fun in it. And I appreciate you for that. And everybody, I'm so excited to be on this side of the call because I've been listening to these podcasts forever. And I'm so excited to reach out to you and just feel you, this beautiful community that Tarek has, and everybody that listens. I have felt a part of your community and you for a long time as I've joined in our healing events with Tarek. So yay, you guys. Yeah. I'm so excited to share my voice and this wisdom with you.
Thank you, Dr. Lisha. It's such an honor to have you here with us, and you are a wealth of wisdom, and so grateful that you've been resonating with my work and have been part of the Infinity Tribe that I like to call us. So I've been working with you for several months now, and my life's completely transformed. It literally was the game changer on one of your coaching calls where I was reaching out to my life partner who was a friend at the time, and you really helped me get clear on what I was truly seeking in a relationship. And anyways, lots of amazing breakthroughs happen working with you, and I can't wait to share some of those nuggets with our collective soul family here. So I would love it if you can. I would love to have our audience kind of taste some of the work that you do and actually have tangible experiences. So if you have a process you can walk us through after we get to know you a little better, I would love our audience just to stick around for that. That's the best part. We're going to start with that, and then we'll go into deeper questions and intuitively guided questions. But before we get started, Dr. Lisha, could you share with us what part of your story do you feel has that has led you to being who you are today and doing the work that you do right now?
Like whole story.
What I know it's so much. I mean, it's a movie, it's a book, it's a whole series, but a
Because
part of it.
this loss of identity,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I had a tumultuous childhood, like so many of us did, right? And different traumas, different things happen, and for me, I got to experience it on every level. And at the same time, I was raised in Catholicism, so I was open to angels and spirits and saints and just the whole mysticism of the Christian faith. And then I was raised by an Oglala Lakota in Native American, and that culture and sweats and medicine healings and all of that. And then my mother and father both were very intuitive and very aware of you know, that extraordinary world. So it led me into a deeper
like the spirit realm.
Yeah, like the spirit realm and that extraordinarily world and extraordinary experiences and things beyond our sight, right, that are in that faith zone, or what we now are calling 5D.
Okay.
And so I grew up with all of this awareness. I also grew up awake, for lack of a better word. That's what they're calling it, where I've had memories of my soul and my soul's memories while being incarnate into this body. And so it doesn't, I've needed to really mix all of this stuff together. And I lived on Amachi's ashram and studied Hinduism. I've been teaching yoga since I was 18. My mom practiced it, been doing it since I was 4.
Tantra.
Tantra a little bit, like in my 20s. I studied Tantra, and just, I love the ritual of Tantra. I love like that deep meaning. I've never had a partner that will play with me in that realm. So it's been very much in group settings, right? In my own experience, which is a beautiful place to be with Tantra. But I'm still open to that big part of sensuality and sexuality practice in my home as well. So all of that really combined to encapsulate the trauma therapy and my desire for manifesting and owning this life and living my spirit's final incarnation, and also just beyond the limitations of typical religion, and beyond the limitations of typical science, and definitely beyond the limitations of typical psychology, and how do we manage them together. And that's the identity code.
I love it. And so experiencing these deep traumas, and I feel like you're this beautiful bridge of, like, let's say spirituality, science, even like American culture, like white American culture and Native American culture, the seen, the unseen, the dark, the light. Like, you're this beautiful bridge of these two worlds, and you're helping people maybe here to come more here, or like come to the middle, and the people who are more on this side to come. So it's like this beautiful. You have Libra in your chart? Did you mention that to me?
Raised by 2 Libras, and I'm Libra rising. Yeah.
Okay.
Fairness is huge for me. It can cause a lot of issues in my life too, because I want everything to be like nice and fair.
Yeah, it makes sense that you're bridging these worlds. So,
but the balance is huge, right? Even in like the chakra system, when we anchor in the light and we lift up and ground into Mama Earth, like we have this whole heart center that we're living from when we're living in this balance. And it's the same way with the trauma and the shadow aspect and the light aspect in all of us, and the different elements of consciousness. So yeah.
Beautiful. And you've got a wealth of experience from your own experiences with trauma and abuse and healing and forgiveness. And you've got tons of experience from working with clients in that area, and from all the studies that you've done, right? So we would love to get some nuggets of wisdom throughout today's call.
Of each. Yes.
Yeah. Lifetimes probably too, right?
Probably lifetime.
Yeah.
But definitely decades.
Definitely decades. So what one process, Lisha, I feel like you have a million that you can share. What one process can we guide our audience to go through to actually taste some of the work that you do? Is there something we can go through?
So what I found for most people that especially go through childhood struggles, childhood abuse, every kind of abuse kind of affects us differently. And there's one that covers all aspects of identity, and that's sexual abuse or sex at all, right? Sex is just so beautiful. It's creative energy, it's financial energy, it's reproduction, it's our heaven on earth, right? It's the most intimate that we can get. But when we're abused sexually, it does the opposite of that. It can throw all of those things off, right? Creating a life of a lot of struggles. We go through physical, mental, emotional, and that perception of life, esoteric, etheric, our magnetic field, whatever that aspect that we're all kind of finding a mutual word to describe that part of ourselves that is right there, that is ours. It throws that all off. And what happens when we go through trauma is that life force that is you, that is me, that is our life force, that our sense of God, within us, it literally is protected by ego, our physical body, mental body, emotional body, and this etheric field around us, and it's blown out. So sometimes our soul kind of comes right and hovers above us, and we have memories like we're kind of out of body and we're a third person looking down. Other times we're really deep and we're kind of disconnected from our emotions, and we're kind of deep and we kind of feel stuck and kind of hiding under everything. And there's nothing we can do to like pull ourselves out into the world or get us back into our body so we're in control. So this practice brings you back together. We're going to reconnect all of the pieces of your soul into your practice, into your operating field that we usually look at as identity, but it's not our identity. They're just the tools to live within our identity.
So is there a ground, like, is there a step-by-step process we can go through where we can either like meditate? Like I know a lot of our audience, Lisha, suffer and struggle with Dr. Lisha, struggle with childhood trauma, abuse, trust issues. If there's any strategy, tips, procedures, processes that you can share with us to help with those core
identity code. And if anybody wants to follow me on TikTok, it's Dr. Lisha Antiqua on TikTok. Every morning, Monday through Friday, I do this for free for the universe. Join in with our soul family and practice this. You'll feel a difference. It will start shifting and changing your life. So just join me if you would, if you can. Make sure again not to do this driving, as we all say, and that you can be in the consciousness when you're in action, if you're just listening, and then when you can replay this and let it flow through you. So first, you just want to breathe. And you can close your eyes or leave them open. But if you leave them open, definitely just gaze at one thing. Like I have this little crystal here. I'm just going to gaze here so I can keep in contact. And we're just going to go through a quick little rendition of this. I want to invite you to just feel your legs. Literally just start running your hands over your legs and bring your attention, your focus to your physical body. So our physical body goes through so much. I just want you to recognize everything that your physical body has done for you, all of your actions, all of your awarenesses, right? That your physical body is your habits. Your physical body has withstood pain, did all that suffering. Your physical body is actually the slowest, densest piece of you. It takes the longest to shift and transform. And it acts like it's the biggest. It's like the biggest piece of our ego because it's the house of everything. It is your house. So go ahead and acknowledge your house. This is your temple, lent to you by God, by your soul, by source, to use on this planet in this incarnation. Go ahead and feel your body. And if you would, just say with me, internally or externally, I am not my body. I have a body. I am not my body. I have a body. And then inhale, lifting your perineum. You're just going to pull that energy up your spine and hold your breath on the top. We're just going to reset the nervous system just a little bit. And exhale, I am not my body, I have a body. Nice long exhale. We're going to do that 3 times. Inhale, lifting through the perineum. Pull the energy up through your spine into your third eye. And then exhale, I am not my body, I have my body. Feel the tingles, the awakeness that just this little bit of attention of your body is giving you. Inhale, lifting through your perineum. Just pull that energy up your spine one last time. And then exhale. Feel that part of yourself that is noticing your body, that is aware of your body. And then begin shifting that awareness to your thoughts. What are you thinking right now? What is your brain thinking? This is the next tool that you have in your toolbox. Your brain is directly connected to your nervous system. Your brain is your nervous system. Your memories are your nervous system. So feel this opening and imagine your thoughts. Just are you thinking of the past, future, are you present? Where are you right now? Just notice. And then begin noticing the part of you that's noticing your thoughts, your highest consciousness. And envision a stream in front of you using your beautiful visualization, your mind, your frontal lobe. Go ahead and visualize a stream in front of you and just put your thoughts in the stream. It could be words, images, memories. Let all those 90,000 thoughts, 80,000 of them we don't even recognize, just go into that stream. Begin noticing when you get pulled down the stream by thoughts. And bring your awareness back to this place of yourself witnessing your thoughts, this place of a witness. You are not your thoughts, you have thoughts. You are not your thoughts, you have thoughts. You are not your memories, you have memories. And then nice deep breath, inhaling in, take your eyes and look up to your hairline, and then imagine yourself just looking back into your head as if you were turning your eyes around, and envision your pineal gland, this little bitty grain of sand that looks like a pine cone, and flip it on, allowing the light to connect all the way up to your star soul right above your head, about arm's distance. And you might just pull your soul back kind of into alignment and anchor it all the way up to however you experience source or sources, inviting your guiding light to come down through you, awakening your star self, soul self. And if any pieces of your soul were kicked out due to trauma or any other reason, invite them back into your body. Inviting your life source back into your thoughts. Asking your thoughts to be kind and gentle and sweet and easier to maintain through your soul. Asking your soul to just invite some love, some self-love into your thoughts. Some deeper understanding and realization into your memories. Coming down into your pineal gland, through your pituitary, down into your lower brain, and down through your spinal column, just turning on each and every chakra, aka nerve bundle. And allow your soul to get on your nerves. So if other things have been on your nerves, go ahead and let them release and be burned off as your soul comes back into alignment with your nerves, into your heart, into your stomach, into your reproductive organs, into your tailbone. And you're going to turn on that light in your tailbone. And at the base of your tailbone, there's a very literal and figurative drain. Go ahead and pull the plug on that drain and release anything that's been on your nerves and trying to figure out, trying to make sense of, ruminating about. Just release anything that's ready to go, that you've had enough of. Let it go. And then feel this light, your light, just shining down through your legs, anchoring you all the way down. And below your feet, below your tailbone, is another Earth star. This is like your this is like your grounding mat. Go ahead and connect there and feel your soul there. And feel that part of your soul just coming back into your body as if you were sucking up the nutrients from Mama Earth. If you want more money, you can say, hey, money, connecting all the way down into the middle of Mama Earth. I call this the Garden of Eden. You can pick things that you want off trees. If you want more love, invite more love. If you want more money, invite more money. If you like more peace, invite more peace, joy, happiness, abundance, whatever that looks like. Go ahead and invite that all the way up into your body, receiving into your body, receiving into your brain, this feeling. And let's shift your awareness, knowing that you are not your thoughts. You have thoughts, from your thoughts to your feelings. So your emotional body is very different from your thoughts. Your emotional body is very connected to your physical body in the sense that it is your connective tissue. So you'll feel tingles all over your body. You'll feel sensation all over your body. Begin opening up this sensation with this light, with this love. You are not how you feel, but you have feelings. Your feelings are your GPS system, as you know, or might know. Bringing this awareness into your heart, connecting heaven and earth. Just begin noticing how you feel. If you've had emotions of distress, or you weren't allowed to feel something growing up, or you were told how to feel, or you needed to control your emotions, and they're uncontrollable. They're just energy in motion. So notice how you feel, and without judgment, or as little judgment as possible, invite any emotions that are no longer serving you to just release down that drain and go down that stream. That stream is now just holding your emotions and your thoughts, just letting them go. Noticing yourself, witnessing if there's any tight spots in your body, right? This can show up as autoimmune diseases, as phantom pain, joint pain, shoulder pain, hip pain, jaw pain is usually what comes first. And secondary is elbows and knees and ankles. And then it works into the joints, bones, around the organs. All of this is just energy in motion. Just invite your light, your soul, to go into any energy that's been stuck or stagnant. This is usually total failure, guilt, shame, terror, wanting to not be here on this planet. Body death is what we call it in psychology. Just releasing that, acknowledging it. And let's connect into some feelings that you desire. So what do you desire? What are the desires of your heart? Maybe more joy, abundance, freedom, connection, contentment. What are those emotions that are moving? Invite acceptance. Acceptance is the biggest emotion to move things. Invite that acceptance into your field to love you. And begin noticing that you are not your emotions. You have emotions to move you, either away from something or towards something, or to allow that acceptance and love into your body. So fill up on that, noticing that you are not your emotions. You have emotions. And then right outside of your skin, there's your electromagnetic field. So working with Tarek, I can imagine that you have a pretty good stance on this, but I want you to just notice if that field is really tightened to you and it's really all about you and you have this protective thing happening. That's natural after trauma. And also, or there's no difference. There's no space between you and the world. It's like there is no you. It's just you feel everybody's stuff. You're truly, truly sensitive, or you're closed off to everything. If you're closed off, I want you to just invite yourself to just push this electromagnetic field out. Give yourself a little bit more space. Take up a little bit more space in the world today. There's this clear seal all the way around you. It's like a cell. And if you have no space around you, if you feel like you walk into a store and you can feel everybody's everything, go ahead and from above you, this positive charge above you, your soul star, and below you, this negative charge below you, your earth star, you're just going to connect those. And I see it as like a cellophane. Okay. Now, if anybody has ever told you to put up mirrors, I just want to encourage you now. We can take those down. We're no longer living in the karmic realm. We're in this new age of Aquarius. Go and take those mirrors down. Let them go down the drain if you have mirrors up. And send out love and light. Everything that you want. You want abundance. You want love. You want peace. You want light. You want community. You want connection. You want safety, security, and success. Go ahead and Send those out into the world, but see where you end and the world begins by closing up this field. This is your electromagnetic field. You're in charge of it. This is your perception. Any part of your perception that no longer serves you, dissolve, resolve, transform, transmute, and transcend it. Just send it down that drain. And then invite your soul body to just come in deeper and fill up your space. And I want to give you a moment to just feel yourself. Fill up and feel yourself. So after everything is drained out that drain, go ahead and plug that drain. And then just begin to fill up your own cup of you. Get curious for a minute. Where do you end and the world begins? If there's anybody in this field that has come in to try to help you, save you, do the work for you, we can't do each other's work. Go ahead and, with love and blessings, send their energy back to them so they can do their own work. And any place where you're trying to be the hero and save somebody else or do the work for them, call your energy back so you can do your own work. Because by saving ourselves, by healing ourselves, by living our most abundant, beautiful life, we truly serve. Just fill up and feel you for just a minute, a few breaths. And then whenever you're ready, go ahead and open up your eyes. And just focus right back on that one thing you were focused on. Feel your breath. Feel your space. And this is the identity code. This is practicing being in your toolbox instead of being your toolbox.
Wow, Lisha. So powerful. And I love that affirmation. I'm not my thoughts. I have thoughts. I'm not my body. I have a body. I'm not my emotions. I have emotions. So powerful.
Not your perspective. That's the other piece. We didn't do that, please. But yeah, you're not your perspective. You're not even what's happening to you in life. That's just happening so we can shift it, right? That's how all of your teachings come into play. From that place, shift it. I feel for so many people with trauma, we don't understand that we're not these things. So we keep identifying as these things and what happened to us. And so we can't take responsibility for that because we're subject to everybody else's stuff.
Can you give me an example of that, Lisha?
Yeah. For me personally, there's like when bad things kept happening to me, right? I didn't understand. I understood the subconscious mind. I understand reality creation. I understand the law of attraction. I understand these things, and even Reiki work and mindset work and all this stuff. I'm a pro at it, right? But I'm like, why isn't it working for me? Why does everything seem upside down and backwards? And it was because my body mind just so identified with the struggle that I had to fix it. I had to fix it. I had to fix it. And the more that I do this identity practice, I'm more identifying as my soul, which doesn't need fix, that isn't broken, less with what happened to my body, less with what they told me to think, the emotions that are up and down and all over the place each day, and less with the circumstances of my life, which is currently allowing me to step into bigger and bigger things in my life and more abundance.
Got it. Lisha, thank you so much for that process. What, my Virgo side is like, what just happened? So is that something we do on a daily basis, like just to connect us, ground us with our infinite selves? Like, what would the title of that process be?
So I call it two things. Now I'm calling it the identity code practice because SSS didn't fit in TikTok.
Okay.
It was my safe, secure, and successful morning practice.
Okay.
And working with people on all these levels and in an intuitive level and as an energy worker and a healer, I really require that awareness for me. And so as I did this more and more with my clients and preparing their body, mind, souls to come into their body again after trauma, to trust again after trauma, to maybe for the first time, if the trauma started when they were really young, it helps us to heal the PTSD and the depression and the anxiety. And truly, like, many people live symptom free.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you, Lisha. I have tons of questions. I would love to start off with the first one, that when we went through the information from The Secret, I feel like a lot of it was positive and empowering, but I also feel a lot of it was like half truths, or it's like we went from like chickens in little boxes to like free range chickens, but it's still we're still on the farm, so we're not fully free and empowered and sovereign. And what do you feel about this mindset that I would hear from people who really drank that Kool-Aid fully without questioning any part of it, where it's like you're creating every part of your reality. So don't feel bad for someone who's going through bad experiences. There is no good or bad. Do you feel every single no, right? Every
I believe in
trauma that
unconsciousness. I believe in unconsciousness. I believe that we were born. I fucking love this question, by the way.
yeah.
I just got totally pumped.
Good. Good. I channeled the right question.
Channeled the right question. So you guys listen to this. This is my take on it, and I've thought long and hard about it, and it really has been a deep part of my dissertation, my doctoral work. But we're born into this world a blank slate.
Mm-hmm.
Our consciousness in a body. So little kids, one, emotionally, they can be high 1 minute, low, they're in flow, low the next, right? They're crying, then they're thrilled. You just hand them a toy. Like, it's like, woo, woo, right? Their thoughts aren't running them because they're not programmed yet. We get our thoughts programmed by our environment. So somebody growing up in the Sudan is going to be different than somebody in Iraq, which is going to be different than somebody in the US, which is going to be different than somebody in Canada, right? Like, all of our programming from our color, from our culture, from the energy in our house, from the way our parents spoke to each other, if we had one parent, two parents, just grandparents, like all of that is our mental programming, period. Okay. We're not in charge of that at all. It's they've proven it's a system that we can unload and reload, right? So we can repeat that system generation after generation after generation. And I think that for the most part, 100 years ago, they were just breaking that cycle, right? In the 1918s, 1920s, when free thought and like the Think and Grow Rich and the science of wisdom and all of that stuff was coming into play. That is the basis of everything that we know about the
personal development. Yeah, it was the starting like of a movement.
That was 100 years ago. Before that, I think that there was a lot of just unconscious programming. We married in classes, right? Because the poor would stay poor and the rich would stay rich. They knew it, but they didn't know how to change it. And what we've been learning is through emotion, we change the emotion of that. So now the poor can be rich, right? The American dream, as they say, that that shift can happen. We don't have to live in the classes of our own upbringing. So the abusers now get this chance to not abuse anymore.
So Lisha, I think to get clear about my question, like a lot of the people I connect with go through extreme traumas, and a part of me is like, yes, the bigger the trauma, the bigger the initiation experience, the deeper I can be as a light warrior here on the planet. But I'm curious to know, are there any, like, is there such a thing as a beautiful light soul coming to this planet and just that alone is a threat to the dark forces, and they try to, like, I feel like there's two schools of thought. One says like, yeah, we come here and we're such a threat to the darkness that they do try to attack us, and they're behind a lot of our traumas. There's another one that says, hey, we've got that from our past lives and that's coming to be cleared. And there's another that says there's no good or bad. All those bad experiences, the dark forces are there to help us fast forward on our evolution. But I feel like we overuse that, and I'm curious to know, is there never an experience where it's not that we're not co-creating it?
Yeah, no, I want to explain this first part first. So the first parts of our lives, we're literally being trained how to be a human.
Got it.
I believe my soul was like, yeah, bitch, you fucked that one up. You're going back down in 5 years. Yep. Redoing it. This time the trauma is going to be super fast and you have no financial support. Ha! You did it. Don't do drugs. Do not die again. Right? I was like, oh shit. Right? And so my little soul was like, and I believe that the time before that, I came back really fast too. It was about a 20-year gap to do the same thing, because I didn't feel complete in my soul to end martyrism, right? Even though I did a really great job looking back, I didn't complete that. So I think from my experience, my soul came in knowing full well the initiation I wanted to go through. So in that sense, I believe that I was like, yes, give me that shit. Now, my body, my mind, my environment, and all of that, none of that was on board with my soul.
Got it.
None of that wanted that. Right? I would never wish what I went through on anybody. And so
so you believe you called it in, you chose it. It felt like a shock, and why is this happening? But your soul's like, yep, this is the one we chose.
I believe that I came in to end the cycle of abuse.
Got it.
I don't know if the abuse I experienced is what I necessarily needed. I think we might have gone a little overboard.
Yeah.
Right? But that was for whatever reason, that was my initiation and that was my programming. So it's all the shit that I now have to take responsibility for in order to, and accept and love myself anyway, in order to create the reality I want instead. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there's a beginning part of our lives, I do not believe that when we're in that training that we are awake. I don't. I do not. I don't think that we are in charge. I do not know a little kid that can go out and get a job and choose his family or her family. I don't know anybody that's in charge at that age. We come into this planet as human beings to have that experience of not being in charge, actually. And then we go through our initiation, teenagers or whatever, where we start taking that charge back, and we can choose to stay. This is my lot in life. I'm unconscious, or do the work to claim our authority over our bubbles and our reality. And that reality I'm calling into my life to the best of my ability. And that's a continuous process, right? So I think it's all of it.
Got it.
I agree with all of it. There might not be any bad or good, but there is definitely evil and righteous, or evil and beautiful, evil and whatever the opposite of evil is. I call it good, but if there's bad and good, it wouldn't be that.
Sure.
You can always turn evil into good, but a lot of times evil stays evil. Right? That's the unconscious piece. You can turn good into evil, right? We do that with money all the time. Right? We do that with power all the time. But it's about our consciousness. We have a responsibility once we have that ability to choose where we live, what we eat, how we take care of ourselves, how we treat people, right? All of that is free will. And that's what we're here to do, I think. Does that answer your question?
100%. Thank you so much. Lisha, there's a lot of trauma healing work. I do a lot of trauma healing work. I was seeking a lot of therapists to really break cycles, end cycles, transmute, alchemize what's been happening, and it's been a long journey. And I'm curious to know, like, for people listening and watching who've tried so many different trauma healing techniques, what is it about your process that you feel really allows for tangible results, or that it goes deeper, gets to the bottom of things? Like, what makes it different? What makes it more effective?
Treat the whole person.
What treat the whole person, holistic, all parts.
So if you go to an MD or a naturopath or a yoga instructor or a fitness instructor or a nutritionalist, I'm not an MD or a naturopath, but I am a nutritionalist, I am a yoga instructor, and I train teachers. We're going to treat the body, right? And that's super important, because we can't do anything without this action body. You can know all the stuff in the world, you're going to have all the wisdom in the world, and if you don't put it into action, as you know, it's no good. You can't manifest and sit down. You got to do something. There has to be movement. But that's not it either, because if you don't have the right mindset, is going to be screwy. And with me, like working with PTSD, anxiety, depression, bipolar, BPD, identity disorders, narcissism, codependence, all that shit, I love it. Right?
Yeah.
You have an eating disorder, let's fucking dive in. You have a sex addiction, let's fucking do this. Like I needed that in order to do this job effectively. So I'm different in that sense. I'm versed and well, I'm good there.
Mm-hmm.
That you don't really get though with this spiritual awareness that we have the cosmic things coming, and your intuitiveness and faith and religion and how those things play in, and asking for spirit and guidance and the energy work. You don't get the Reiki, the energy healing, the chakra healing, all this stuff, right, from normal psychotherapy or an MD or just a nutritionalist and fitness instructor, right? So I bring all of those pieces together and then some, because we do emotional intelligence work, we do relationships work and sex work and what that means and what relationship works and the dynamics of relationships. So I'm bringing all of that, and then I help people step into a career of wellness, of health, whatever that means. I mean, I train coaches and yoga instructors in this methodology of the identity code, and therapists and nurses to go in there and help other people. It is a certification, but you get it all. You get to learn how to do all of this stuff. It's not just one-sided. So many people have a specialty, and my life has panned out for me that I didn't get that right. I got to die in all 6 of my personal power zones in order to help you live and to live myself. And I'm still growing, right?
Yeah.
I'm growing with you in all that we're doing for me to step into this fully. Yeah.
Yeah. And thanks for sharing. And I love that people who've been through these extreme initiation experiences, like, their level of awareness is superior to most people. Their need for strong boundaries becomes so much more important. Their need to tap into their infinite divine power is more, there's more of an urgency for you to master self, because it literally was a life or death. It felt like survival, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it forces us to.
Yeah, it definitely was for many of us. And so reclaiming that's important for us to even get to where we want, because we'll put blocks up, as you you know, like all along the way to get what we really want, and be like, oh, I don't really want that. Nope, I don't really. When our whole heart is desiring that relationship or that amount of money and that amount of success or that security and safety. Right?
Yeah. Well, I'd love to speak on that, because that was me. I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for a committed relationship. I don't know if I want that, when that's what I really wanted, and you could sense it right away. And I was like, maybe I should be in open polyamorous relationships. Why do you feel we are not clear about what we're seeking in relationships, in career, with our emotionals? What like, it seems simple to know what, like, when we were kids, it was, we want to play, we go to parks, like, we go play with our toys, like, we knew what we wanted and we did it. And then something comes along. Why do you feel like we're not able to get clear about what we want? And even if we do realize what we want, why is it hard to experience it?
Avoidance and fear.
We're
I mean,
afraid.
it always really comes down to fear, but it's fear of getting hurt.
Rejection wounds.
And so it can be rejection wounds or abandonment wounds. It can also be fear of being seen, right? Fear of not getting it right. We have a lot of people with perfectionist things that were raised in strict environments, or environments where things were very out of control. We get this perfectionist thing going. And so we'd rather do nothing than fuck it up.
Okay.
And so it really depends. Everybody's a little bit individual. For me, I'm clairvoyant, clairsentient, and clairaudient. So, and I grew up in environments where those practices were encouraged for me to practice. So when I tap in, and I don't tap in all the time anymore, I've learned to turn off my skills. Thankfully, I'm alive. That's part of the training. But when I turn them on with clients, like, I literally see lines of where things are attached, and I see truth. So for you, I was listening, and it, I was feeling your inner child just say, oh, but I want that safety. I want that security. I want to open to this. But I also felt your inner child going, but I am not going to be intimate there. And I don't know how much you would allow me to share. But
Yeah, I'm a full open book. Feel free to share.
Okay. So vibrationally, your gift, right, is your gift, and heals so many people, and such a blessing in the world. But it was also your fear, right? And to be truly intimate with your beloved, it's that's what intimacy is. Intimacy isn't the sex act for you. It's fun and it's good, but that's not it. That's not where you go. Some people do, but that's not where you go. That's where you're like all in, like, let's do this shit. Right?
Yeah.
But over here, intimacy, vulnerability is letting someone, right? Not the whole world. You can do the whole world fine. It's allowing someone into your bubble to work your energy, to love your energy, to do this, not in an exchange for like business and business, not a business
That's
deal.
safe.
But that's safe, right?
Yeah.
And not you showing the world, this is what I can do, and this is what you can do too, and being a mirror for them, showing people how they can work their energy, but being like held and loved by your beloved, right?
Yeah.
That's like the scariest bullshit for you, right?
Yeah.
So it's different, but it makes perfect sense why, due to your trauma, right? So other people's trauma will make sense to that, but it's very individual because we go through it, and it's, where is your soul still hiding out? So that's what I look for in my clients. Like, where's your soul hiding? Where's your soul, your body, mind, spirit, and emotions, like, or emotions and etheric realm? Like, where is all of this still protecting your soul from coming forward? And that's when we find true freedom.
Yeah, and you can connect it to so many things. So it's like, I feel like a lot of us, because it's a blind spot, we're like, I don't know why this is happening at work. I don't know what's happening with my health. I don't know what's happening with my relationships, my money. And you're like, and then you just connect the dots.
I literally see, God shows me lines, and I see it, and I can go boom, 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 boom. If I could only do it for myself, it'd be
Yeah. If only we could use our gifts on ourselves. I love that.
right.
Yeah. How is childhood abuse different from being in an abusive relationship or being victimized later in life?
So why it's so different is because we're truly developing, just like I said when we explained The Secret, like, your programming is happening. So you're developing your emotional body, and in spirit, you have the spirit body coming into this little body, right? And you have all this stuff. Well, your emotions are the first thing to be like communication things. So if they're shut down or not listened to, that's immediate pain, and why so many of us go through emotional pain. And then you start using your words, right? And if your no, which is usually people's first word, that boundary, if your no's are like, whatever, do it anyway, and you're forced to not go through your no, then that's taken away from you, right? So we're actually trained into being subservient servants.
Yeah.
And even in the school system, right? And then depending on your color, your ethnicity, your sex, your gender choice, like all of that stuff plays into it. So in childhood, all of that's developing. And if it's not allowed to develop to its highest degree because of trauma and abuse in the house, you never get a chance to find your identity. And if you get like a crazy household, but it's semi-healthy and semi-normal, like, you get to develop some sort of identity within there. And then after about the age of 28, it solidifies. 33 for men, 28 for women, it solidifies. But for those, if we're abused before we're really getting that chance to move out and away from our families, away from the abuse, and have that anchoring, if we're abused before we're able to have this choice, right? Because once we get money, once we get income, once we get, I said that twice.
Clearly,
money
you're calling it in, Lisha. You're calling in the financial
money is choice, right? But until we get that choice, like, what am I going to eat for dinner? What am I going to eat? What do I want? What do I want, right? Before we get that chance to have that choice, we're living in somebody else's world. And sometimes we immediately marry, and we continue doing that anyway.
Yeah.
So developing this ability to choose for ourselves is really important. Once we can do that, if we're abused after that, even in a relationship, even developing PTSD or going to war, or like doing any of that, if any trauma happens after that, we still have that core foundation of who we are, who our family is, who we are, who we want to agree with, that core value system, right? And core confidence. If we didn't get that in childhood, we don't have that. Period.
So you recreate your identity. You recreate it from a clean slate.
Yeah. So Amazing You is kind of like, okay, let's recreate this. My whole, it's a year-long process I take people through. It's also the foundation of my coaching curriculum where we go through that. You didn't go through that program because I felt like you had that.
Yeah.
So the next step over that is healing from intimacy, healing from sexuality, and that's Reclaim Intimacy.
Got it. And the program asks such great questions. One of my favorite parts was to sit down with my partner and just go through the questions together, because it's so much to reflect on, and there's such great questions that I don't feel like we get asked a lot. And yeah, I love that it's your university. It makes so much sense. Like, this is what a true teaching, true university, in the way that it really helps us with what's most important, because otherwise we all have these certifications, but we're all like emotionally broken and damaged. So many survivors of abuse feel lost and tend to lose themselves in their work, substances, relationships. How do you help them break free from that cycle?
It comes back to the knowing the self. And we're not just like, oh, know what you like, right? Like, that's kind of pop psychology. Just know what you like. Just focus on what's working for you. Just focus on what's good for you. Oh, just focus on the positive. Well, that's kind of bullshit. Like, it doesn't really work, especially if you've gone through childhood trauma, because you don't even know how to do that. So many of my clients don't even know what they don't know. And I say, hey, what's happy? What would make you happy? I don't know. What kind of relationship do you want? I don't know. What do you like to eat? I don't know. I don't like to eat, right? We live in this place of like, I don't know. And then you're like, well, Joe wants to eat that for dinner. So we had that for dinner. Oh, cool. What did you want to eat? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's really about developing the I know, not from me telling them that or you telling them that or something else, but developing that habit, that freedom to choose. And so that's why we feel lost, because we've never been allowed to choose anything, and we're so scared that if we choose wrong, we won't be loved, because that's what happened in our family. And so we spend a year together, really, whether it's through healing sex and sexuality and intimacy or personal identity in the Amazing You program. It's like we spend this time together going, what do you want? What is your preference? What is it about you? If it's not about him getting off or her getting off, it's about you, right? What do you like? And then what do you like to give, right? Then we bring in the partnership, the relationship, the work, the abundance, all of that, because you're no longer having to fill something up with the addiction or the feeling lost or seeking kind of cycle we get into.
So important. I feel you're right. There's so many people, when you ask, like, so many teachers and coaches are like, hey, I can help you achieve anything. What? Not sure. Or like a relationship, a job, as opposed to getting clearer about what it is you want. So when someone's not sure, let's say in a relationship, what they're looking for, they just know they're attracting really bad experiences. What's one question, exercise that you would walk them through to help them get clear on what it is that, like you said, they don't know that they don't know it, or they haven't thought about it, or they're afraid to ask for too much because, right, they're used to like a low standard and survival.
Yeah. So in relationships, I always say, like, what are you tolerating? We can usually say like what we don't want, and we can usually say what we're tolerating, because we're used to looking at what we don't want, negatives, right? We're used to looking at the negatives, what we need to fix, what needs to be better, instead of what we actually want. And so I start there. I start where they're at. That's the only place to start. So if you know what you don't want, let's go through that, right? So in what they don't want, they might tell me, like you said, I know I don't want to be in a monogamous relationship. I'm poly, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. And I go along with it. I'm like, hell yeah, right? But there's some people that are. I studied poly. Like I get that exploration. And so no judgment. I'm just like, yeah, let's do this. How do you want to build that? And then you were like, well, there's this rule and that rule and this and this and this and this, and I don't want this and I don't want that, but I want more of this. And I was just like, because it gets a little foggy, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, over here, and this is messing with me. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, do you realize what you're feeling is you want her? But I don't want her with anybody else. Okay, well, if you don't want that, then you want her to be with you.
Yeah.
Right. And so it was like, oh, right. So we were following your emotions, right? But you were trying to mean that something was like immediately you're like, well, something's kind of wrong with me. Like I'm poly and this is how it is. And I need to be okay with her being with this other man over there.
Yeah.
Even though I'm really not liking it. Right. And I'm like, well, what if this woman you actually want? This is the one that you've been waiting for those 10 years. Right? And you're like, And when we're open to that possibility of looking at what we don't even know that we don't know yet, and be like really feeling into it, and that vulnerability, like you were scared of the vulnerability. You were scared that she might feel your energy, right? You were scared of that intimacy and that time and everything, right? But at the same time, you're like, oh yeah, okay, here we go. Because what you knew is the play dates were fulfilling sexually maybe, but they were getting more and more cumbersome and more weird and more like they weren't fulfilling you really.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Exactly.
Right?
That's a good sign too, from the universe saying, I think you want more. I'll give you what you think you want, but I feel like I know that you want more.
Yeah.
I would love to wrap this up with this question, and then we can share with our audience how they can continue following you and benefit from your ongoing blessings and all your beautiful shares on social media. So what are the 4 primary zones of identity? Did we cover this? That will be focusing on affirming and healing in this experience.
Yeah. So in the experience, just so you remember, you are not your body, you have a body. And your body, I have these little cards. If you come to TikTok in the morning, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, on Monday through Friday, join me live. I'll show you my little things. But, the body is a little battery pack. And then we have the mind that's in the body that's kind of running the body, right? Then we have the emotions that are taking us on the flow, like, oh, I like this, or oh, I don't like this. And we get addicted to emotions. Like we get into our normal little emotions. So if we're used to feeling depressed, like we're going to feel really comfortable there, whether we like it or not, right? If you're used to bliss and excitement, you're going to feel really comfortable there, right? And if you're not, you're going to feel uncomfortable, even in the most beautiful situations, right?
Yeah.
So learning how to navigate that, you are not your emotions. You have emotions. They're your GPS, and you're not what's happening around you. Really. There are people where we develop the skill to manifest what we want to call in that reality, but we have these bubbles of reality that are very prone to our parents and our upbringing, all the things that you clear and I clear, during sessions. So we're clearing that, taking responsibility for our perspective and changing our perspective, but it's not us, right? Just because somebody comes in and does something to us doesn't mean that we did something bad for that.
Yeah.
We're all cells. I like to vision, we're all in one body, the body of Christ or whatever you want to call it, right? And we're all cells. And as long we're either whole cells or we're like crumbled cells and dried cells and cells that are sloughing off and dying, or we're like mangled cancer cells, right? And we can all be this whole cell, but it's our responsibility to keep this whole cell. But just because I'm a whole cell doesn't mean that a cancer cell can't come over here and like make me sick, right? So that said, I kind of look at it like that, and we're all in charge. I'm only in charge of my cell, but another cell can come into my environment and make it toxic. And then it's up to me to place boundaries, do whatever I need to do, or deal with the trauma that happened again because the toxic cell came into my space. But it's not my fault that happened. I think that goes on the question you asked earlier too. Yeah. So we have body, mental body, emotional body, and spiritual body, or etheric realm, or magnetic field, whatever you want to call it. But we are not any of those things. You and I are ever living, everlasting essences of divine consciousness. Period. With a body, and we can body forward or soul forward.
Yeah, I love that. And I remember, the other day having like just being stuck in this argument with my partner, and I was like, went to the washroom and I get these downloads, and I'm like, none of this is real. Like, not in the we're all in an illusion type of thing, but more like none of this back and forth stuff that feels so like she said this and he did this, and like all of that. I just wanted to be like, hey, these are all illusions. So I wanted to be like, they're not real from a place of clarity, not from a place of dismissing the emotions. Just like, they're not real. This is like past projections, unresolved fears, and like it's not really like when that fog is cleared, we can see each other for who we are. But then the thing that came up was, but I also want to, for my partner, she wanted to honor the emotions. So it's like, I don't want to dismiss her emotions, but I also want to reaffirm what is real. And what is real is I love you, you love me, and we don't hate each other. We don't want the worst for each other. We want the best for each other. So, I'm curious to know where you would draw the line between like, hey, the truth is we are infinite consciousness, but also honoring like the inner child's traumas that feel so real. And
I love that question. Yeah, that is, for me, where I'm dancing with that right now is that is the beauty of this life experience. This earth. That's earth. Like, it's just a dance. It's just experience. It's just never, all of it is real and all of it is fake. All of it's an illusion. Like, all of it's very real. And that's this experience of us not being, I don't know why I want to be like, I don't want to go there, but not being of in another dimension. Yeah. Right. Not being in that other dimension. We're in this 3D dimension. There's so much spiritual bypassing that happens with healing trauma and everything that kind of like, well, we don't want to be in this dimension and we don't want to live here. Well, the thing is we are here. For whatever reason. Let's learn the lesson here. If you don't want to be here, get the fuck in your body. Learn the lesson that you're here to learn. And then you can choose for your soul to go on to that next
adventure.
Good word. Yeah. Right now we're here. So her feelings matter. Your feelings matter. And what really matters in a relationship is that container that you set. I love you. You love me. And we're here together. Right? The ultimate goal is to respect one another. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, Lisha, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your energy, your enthusiasm, your wisdom. You have a lot on the go. Maybe you can just give us little bullets of what the different options are, and if there's a way for the best way for our audience to reach out to you, to follow you on social media. Yeah. And we'll put those links, but we'll put all the links that you're talking about. We'll put them in the description. So if you're not on YouTube, if you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes or somewhere where you can't see all the links, please find your way to YouTube, type in Tariq BB, and then you'll find it under the podcast section, and it's all in the description. But yeah, if people are curious to know, you've got a lot of offerings, maybe you could just let them know what they are. And
really, there's 3 things, and it's all the identity code, just different levels. Okay. So if you're in a place where you really want to figure out who you are and what you are and heal that childhood trauma and get to a place where you can manifest, where things are flowing more easy, where you understand those dots, I would start with Tariq's offer. There is the Unstoppable Confidence. It's a lead 9-hour education into My Amazing You year. We spend a year together, private session, and it's beautiful. It's
Mhm.
it's an incredible journey. It's life transformational. The next piece is what Tarek did himself. And it is all about healing from childhood sexual abuse. Really, after you know who you are, but you're just not quite manifesting that partnership, that intimacy, you're still dealing with a little bit of that PTSD or this or that, and things aren't really aligning. And this is also really beautiful for financial stuff. Many of my clients have gotten huge results financially for this. And
Nice.
it's Reclaim Intimacy, free offer. Again, 9 hours of teaching around it. And then if you choose to join me, you can join me for that adventure in Paradise Awaits is the name of that. And then if you want to do this as work, and this is like a true calling. I am a teacher at heart. I want as many people offering the identity code methodology to people. I have a training on that, a certification on that. So Tarek, we have all 3 links there for those 3 giftings. Just set up a consultation with me if you're looking into a coaching program, or if you're a therapist looking for a methodology that is published to treat CSA, or if that aligns with you, I'm definitely looking in the coaching certification program.
Beautiful. Thank you. And Dr. Lisha, if they're listening to it in a place where the links aren't there, maybe we can just give them a website they can go to, and maybe they can just let you know that they heard this podcast through you, and you can maybe offer them a little special something for any offering.
Yeah, LishaAntiqua.com. You can set up a consultation with me and just tell me that you heard it on Tarek's call, and I will filter everything that way if we choose to work.
Thank you. And that's
I'm on all social media as Lisha Antiqua, but definitely join me on TikTok, because that's
TikTok's where it's at.
I am on TikTok. We have an amazing community over there at Dr. Lisha Antiqua.
Okay, beautiful. And Lisha Antiqua is Lisha, last name Antiqua, and you can go to the .com to find all the other social media platforms. Dr. Lisha, you're amazing. Thank you so much. If we can broadcast you to the whole entire planet, what one thing would you want to say in this moment?
You are more than you know.
Mm.
We are more than we know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I got emotional with that. And Lisha, if you don't mind sticking around, we'll do a quick infinity healing based on some of the golden nuggets that you shared, and we can conclude it. So for those of you who aren't aware, the infinity healing modality is a process I created where source energy, God, universal energy connects to you, does infinite things for you so you can be your infinite self. So would you like an infinity healing for Source God Universe to help you get clear on what it is you're desiring? If you'd like that, just say yes. Would you like an infinity healing to know what your needs are and have your needs be met? Yes. Would you like an infinity healing to integrate the different aspects, the different parts of yourself, including deepening your connection with your inner child so that you and your inner child deepen your connection, get closer and closer, become better and better friends? Would you like that?
Yes.
Beautiful. And would you like an infinity healing to be able to differentiate you, the body, the emotions, the thoughts, and the experiences, to really have that default setting come from that infinite consciousness, infinite love, that deep soul, the higher self, the whatever words you resonate with, to really come from that place and move through this life from that place of awareness and consciousness? Would you like that? Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Once again, guys, it is TarekBB.com if you want to continue following this podcast where we interview amazing coaches and healers, and it helps us fast track through our evolution because they share with us their 20, 30, plus years of wisdom, and it helps us fast track through their lifetime. And if each one shared that with us, then we're fast tracking hundreds of thousands of years through this podcast, which is my intention, and that's why I call it the world's most evolutionary podcast. So again, it is where did I lost your website? So it's lishaantiqua.com. No, it's not.
Yes.
It is, yeah. So LISHAANTIQUA.com. And then for my website, tarikbeebe.com, we've got tons of abundance healings, music with healings in it. And we're committed to continuously sharing YouTube videos every week, twice a week now, to help you transform from the inside out, and different series. And the podcast is only one of the series. We've got so much going on. So I love you guys. Keep shining, keep thriving, doing what you love. And I'll catch you next time. Please comment below. Let us know what stuck out for you the most in today's amazing call. What nuggets of wisdom really resonated. And if you have any questions, place them below. And maybe we can get Dr. Lisha, to come back and do a part 2 of this call. All right, guys. Keep shining. Thank you again, Dr. Lisha. I appreciate you. You're amazing.
Thank you. Bye, y'all.
We are